In early spring, a tree sends out a flush of young leaves, soft, reddish, almost purple. And imagine you as a child who is handed the leaf by someone in your family. Soft, green, ordinary. You are asked to chew it as it will keep you healthy. You hesitate, then you taste it. Bitter, sharp, unforgettable. Your instinct is to reject it, but you are told keep chewing. And that is how many children in India were introduced to a tree that grew quietly around them, in villages, beside homes, along everyday paths. For generations, people have trusted this tree, a tree that does not comfort the senses but protects the body. This is not a tree of comfort, this is a tree of function. This is the Neem, a tree that has stood quietly at the intersection of nature and medicine for thousands of years. Welcome to Treeline. I am your host, Bhupendra Singh, and today we explore the story of Neem, a tree that protects, purifies, and heals. In Sanskrit, the tree is called Nimba, rooted in ancient Ayurvedic texts. It is often interpreted as the giver of good health. Another name, Arishta, means perfect, complete, imperishable. Across India, its name shifts with languages Neem, Nim, Kadulim, Limdo, Vembu, and so on. Different sounds, same meaning. Scientifically, neem is Azadirachta indica. Azadirachta comes from Persian, meaning noble or free tree, and indica, a reminder of its Indian origin. A tree named not just for biology, but for value. Neem is a medium to large tree, reaching 40 to 60 feet, sometimes more. Its crown spreads wide, but remain open. Light filters through, creating soft, breathable shade. It is not heavy shade. It does not close the sky. It allows space for air, for light, and for life beneath it. Its leaves are compound, rows of narrow serrated leaflets, structured, efficient. Each leaflet small enough to reduce water loss, yet together forming a complete system. And then the taste, bitter, unmistakable. This bitterness is not accidental. It protects the tree from being overgrazed. It preserves its own chemistry. Even here, the tree is defending itself. In spring, neem produces small white flowers, delicate, fragrant, easy to miss. They do not demand attention, they reward it. Soon after comes the fruits, small drupes that turn yellow when ripe. Inside each one lies a seed, rich with compounds that have shaped centuries of medicine. And beneath all of this, unseen, its roots travel deep, searching, persisting, finding what is hidden when the surface offers nothing. Neem belongs to the Indian subcontinent, but it does not depend on ideal conditions. It thrives where others struggle dry soils, rocky terrain, relentless heat. Where survival is uncertain, Neem adapts. From these landscapes, it began its journey, carried by people, planted with purpose. Today, it grows across Africa, Southeast Asia, the Middle East, and parts of Americas, not as ornament, but as function. Some trees rely on thorns, others on thick bark. Neem relies on chemistry. Within it are compounds that disrupt insect life cycles. The most notable, azadirachtin. It does not kill instantly. It interferes with feeding, growth, and reproduction. Over time, insects disappear. Not destruction, unlike by chemical pesticides, but control. For centuries, farmers have used neem this way. Neem leaves in stored grains, neem oil on crops, twigs in storage. Long before synthetic chemicals were invented, there was neem, the protector of human wealth and prosperity. Few trees have been used as extensively in traditional medicine as neem. In Ayurveda, it is called Sarva Rog Nivarini, the healer of all ailments. Leaves for skin and immunity, bark for fever and inflammation, twigs for dental care, seeds for oil, but neem is not taken occasionally, it is lived with, in homes, in routines, in everyday practices. And nowhere is this more visible than in the morning. For generations, the day began with neem, not in bottles, not on shelves, but on the tree itself, a fresh twig, cut, chewed, softened into bristles to clean the teeth, to strengthen gums, and to protect oral health, but also to begin the day with something real, a direct connection between the body and a living tree. No packaging, no processing, no distance. Until slowly modern toothbrushes and paste replaced it. Faster, easier, more convenient, isn't it? But in many parts of India, deep in the countryside, the ritual still remains, a twig in the hand, a memory that continues not as habit alone, but as inheritance. Neem does not stand apart from people, it stands among them. In courtyards, along village paths, beside homes, under its shades, life unfolds in conversations, rest, and routine. Neem does not demand attention, but it becomes essential, a quiet companion to human life. Neem is respected in many traditions. It is associated with protection. In parts of India, it is linked to goddess Shitala. Neem leaves are used to purify spaces. During festivals, neem and jaggery are consumed together, a balance of bitter and sweet, perhaps a reminder that life holds both. Modern science has taken a closer look at what traditional knowledge has long understood. Within Neem are complex compounds that interact with living systems in precise ways. They do not act randomly, they act with purpose. Studies have shown antibacterial properties in neem that inhibits harmful microbes, antifungal effects protecting against infections, anti-inflammatory responses reducing internal stress in the body. Its oil, extracted from seeds, is now used across the world in organic farming as a natural pesticide, in medicine for skin and health applications, in personal care as part of everyday products. Laboratories continue to study neem, isolating compounds, testing applications, seeking mechanisms, but science did not discover neem, it followed it. What was practiced for centuries through observation and experience is now being explained through data and research. In this way, science does not replace tradition, it confirms it. Neem belonged to everyone. Its use and knowledge was never written as a property. People knew how to use its leaves, its oil and bark, not through institutions, but through generations. And then that changed. In the late 20th century, as global interest in natural products increased, Neem entered a different system, a system of ownership. Patents were filed on neem based formulations, particularly for its pesticidal properties. What had always been shared was now being defined as invention. A question emerged: can knowledge that has existed for centuries be owned by anyone? In India, scientists, activists, and researchers came together to challenge these claims. They presented evidence from ancient texts, from documented practices, from living traditions, proof that neem was not a new discovery. It was prior knowledge, knowledge that belonged to people. The case moved through international systems and eventually the patents were revoked. Neem returned to where it had always belonged, not to a company, not to a single nation, but to shared human knowledge. This moment became more than a legal decision, it became a recognition that traditional knowledge is knowledge, and that what is learned through generations cannot simply be claimed by documentation alone. Neem heals more than people, it restores land, its root stabilize soil, its leaves enrich it. It thrives in poor conditions, reclaiming degraded landscapes. Even after oil extraction, the remaining neem cake, when put to earth, enriches it, improving fertility while reducing harmful organisms. Not just protection, but renewal. Neem is not fragile, but it is dependable. As cities expand and climates grow harsher, the role of trees is changing. We no longer need trees only for beauty. We need trees that can endure. Heat rises between buildings, water becomes scarce, air becomes heavier with dust and pollutants. In these conditions, not every tree survives, but neem does. It requires little water, it tolerates extreme heats, it adapts to poor compacted soils. Where conditions are difficult, neem remains. Its canopy filters sunlight, reducing surface temperatures below. Its leaves trap dust and particulate matter, improving air quality around it. Its presence creates a quieter, cooler microclimate within the city. And it does more than that. Its flowers support pollinators, its fruits feed birds, its shade allows other plants to exist beneath it. For landscape designers, neem is not just a tree to plant, it is an opportunity that should not be missed. It works along roadsides, in institutional campuses, in residential layouts, and in dryland urban environments. Given space and sunlight, it can anchor an entire landscape. But like all powerful elements, it must be used thoughtfully. Its roots need room, its canopy needs scale. Looking ahead, the cities of the future with harsher climates will depend not only on technology but on living systems that can sustain them. In that future, neem is not optional, it is essential, not ornamental, not temporary, but enduring. A tree built for the conditions ahead. Neem tree teaches a simple truth. Not everything that heals is sweet. Certain things are bitter, strong, and necessary. For centuries, people have trusted this tree not because it is easy, but because it works. In many places, the day still begins the same way, a twig in the hand, a leaf on the tongue. A small, quiet act repeated across generations, a reminder that healing does not always come in polished forms. Sometimes it comes directly from the earth. I am Bhupendra Singh. This is Treeline, where every tree is a story.